Hey everyone, welcome to Zeitgeist Zealots. I'm Forrest.
And by the power of PC, I am woke. And Major.
And I'm Robbie.
And Matt, if he
No, it's I just
killed Matt.
I lost you guys there for a minute. I don't know what happened. Everything went silent on my end. And Matt.
Yeah, you missed that whole intro.
Yep.
Yeah. So today we're talking about Masters of the Universe Revelation. It's got some interesting reviews online. I think the critics seem to like it. I think it did pretty well on Rotten Tomatoes, critics-wide, but the audience score is much lower. And I guess we'll discuss if that was warranted, or which is for me, I'm just sort of in the middle. Wasn't great, wasn't terrible. I like the animation a lot. I like the voice acting. It's cool to hear Sarah Michelle Gellar after all these years since Buffy. I thought she did a good job as Tila. I think just the main point of contention with the show is that He-Man was heavily featured in the trailers and the promotional materials, and he's basically sort of like a background.
He's not even the main character.
No.
Yeah,
so
he dies.
I noticed that after the first
episode.
Yeah, so
he's just like the intro.
Yeah, so but we gotta remember this is a 2-part series, I guess. I mean, I don't know if they'll do more seasons, but
leaves on a big old cliffhanger that we will talk about. So
yeah,
do you find out more? I'm only 2 episodes in.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure how soon it's gonna come out because I don't know if they're gonna do like multiple seasons or just like 2 parts and then like they're done. But I imagine like Mattel wants to make this like sort of like Castlevania or the Voltron series, just like keep it going and keep pumping it out and make those toy sales.
Make that money.
Try and get those.
Forrest, have you seen all of it?
Yep, I've seen all 5. I finished it last night.
Cool. So we can talk about the last episode here at the end. The whole time I watched it, I was just thinking about how this TV show is just going to be torn to shreds online. And then I think you pointed out with the reviews, like that's exactly what happened. Like 94% on Rotten Tomato, 43% on IMDb, and 48% on like Google reviews or whatever. I just watching it, I just knew like the whole go woke, get broke, toxic masculinity fanboys out there are gonna hate every minute of this TV show. At least, after episode 1.
What did you think overall, Mage?
Very middle of the road. I don't come from a background of He-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I never watched it growing up, so I didn't have they destroyed my childhood. Like one episode at your house, but I think that might have just been Thundercats. I don't know.
I didn't have TV.
I really like the 2002 series, and I think this, if anything, this show just made me want to rewatch that because that had like the animation was just as good. It was definitely had a darker tone. It definitely was celebrated the 80s series, but also like put like a more of a modern spin on it. And basically, if they ever do a movie, that should be the template for. But
I enjoyed the puns. The puns were what kept me going through every episode.
Yeah, they do that a lot in the original.
It's a lot of puns. Yeah, it was pretty corny. It was good.
Oh yeah, like the first line, Adams is like, "I have the power to pop this bubble."
Right?
Things like that. It was kind of weird that Cringer was talking because I don't think he talked in the 2002 series. That was kind of a little strange for me. Although I think he talked in the 80s series. But
Matt, did you watch it?
No, and I'll go on a rant in a minute about this.
Okay. I'm just gonna head out now, and I'll be back for next week's podcast after Matt sees it because that's really all I come from every week. It's just for Matt's opinion on things that really
we're just trying to trick him to watching bad media.
I mean, seriously, you guys have gotten me
to rant about random shows.
You guys have gotten me to watch some of the stupidest shit I have seen that can be called, geek nerd fandom. Yeah. All right. I loved He-Man in the 80s when I was 6 or 7 years old. Yeah. However, now as an adult in my late 30s, I have no desire to see this at all. No. And it really upsets me that Hollywood here lately, or whoever, Netflix or whatever, keeps grabbing this stuff from the 70s and 80s without an original idea remakes it because they think some old adult is gonna like it.
Dude,
No.
lately it is all about remakes.
It is. It's
Well,
all. I look.
Don't you
G.I.
want to show
Joe.
your son? G.I. Joe. Well, G.I. Joe schmo. What about? Don't you want to share He-Man with your son, Matt?
That might be the only reason why I would even put it on in the background. But
well,
yeah.
did you ever?
It's rated PG for fear, so watch out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
be
some of
afraid.
the some of the
I didn't even know
stuff
that
like
was like a thing.
some of the technology stuff. Yeah, I didn't know that either. Some of the technology stuff in the second one was a little creepy. Probably a little creepy for a kid.
Oh yeah, definitely a lot of body horror because like he has literally his
Oh
his
god, the
sticking
eyeball
out.
pops out and strangles
Yeah.
her with it. That was weird.
Yeah, so that might be a little too much. Do you know Henry Rollins voiced the Triclops guy? You all know who Henry Rollins is?
I love Henry Rollins.
Yeah, he was the voice of that guy. So I was like, oh, because I watched the after show where they interviewed all the voice actors. And
you got deep
yeah.
into it, huh?
Well, it was like it came on right after the show ended, so it was like Masters of the Universe Revelation, and I think they interviewed Mark Hamill, and I think he like bashed on Last Jedi again because I think Kevin Smith has asked him about like Luke Skywalker, and he was like, yeah, I've kind of gone through the whole gambit of Luke Skywalker. He was like a wide-eyed farm boy, then became a Jedi Master, then he became a suicidal cynic. So we went through the whole the arc of Luke Skywalker there. So, but yeah, so I don't know. I also liked Duncan, Man at Arms. He was voiced by the guy who plays Davos on Game of Thrones. Y'all still with me? Oh, we lost.
Yeah,
we lost
Major.
So
I was trying to watch some of Dune while you guys are talking.
Oh yeah, I guess this will be a very short podcast because the only guy who watched the show besides me in its entirety is gone.
Well,
So what's the basic? What is the basic premise of this show? Convince me to watch it.
Okay, that's gonna be hard because if I tell the truth, you're gonna be like, screw that. Okay, so the first episode is very, very, by the numbers, what you would expect from a He-Man show, like Skeletor attacks Castle Grayskull. Adam becomes He-Man, and they go to Castle Grayskull to fight Skeletor, and Skeletor unlocks this sort of secret base or crystal or orb underneath Castle Grayskull and reveals its true form, which is like this crystal palace. They get into a big battle, and they break the orb that's like containing all the magic and eternity, and it kills both Skeletor and He-Man. And when they go tell the king,
or did
I think, well, technically it did, but
no.
we go afterwards. Duncan and Tila are talking to the king, and they find out that Adam was He-Man. Apparently the mom knew, but the dad didn't, so he banishes Duncan. Tila quits because she was lied to, and then it like goes like 5 years in the future where like Tila's like has half her head shaved. And she's like a mercenary.
Guys, I'm back from Subterranea.
You mean Subterranea? Subterranea is Marvel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's where the Mole Man lives. But Subterranea is where they went to, the land of the dead. So basically, yeah. So the rest of the series is like Tila teaming up with Evil Lyn, Beastman, Roboto, and Orko to go to the land of the dead to get
Merman.
One half. Oh yeah, Merman. Well, Merman's not part of the group. He just kind of like shows up for a little bit.
The two swords.
They have to get like the two halves of the swords of power. One's in hell, one's in heaven, or Subterranea and Preternia. They have to reforge them to bring back the magic to Eternia because there's no magic in Eternia left. So that's the reason people are pissed off at this show is because like the big bulk of it, He-Man's dead, and Tila is very much the main character. So I think that's people are pissed off.
The reluctant hero.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't call the show He-Man.
No, they didn't.
But he is the star of the franchise, though. So
yeah.
And he was heavily featured in the promotional materials. So
so they make everybody think it's about him.
Yeah. And like Kevin Smith literally said on like Twitter, like this show is all about He-Man. And it was just like, yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, shit, yeah. I mean, to be fair, he does show up in every episode, albeit by like flashback or like illusion.
Yeah, at the beginning of every episode. Yeah, they start with like an allusion to a past plot event, something they did at that place. And I don't know, maybe that's ripped right from the 2002 version or the 1980s version, and hardcore fans are loving reliving that moment. But I don't know, I thought it was a nice way to set the scene for the episode, but overall, not. I wouldn't say that's He-Man. That's like saying Batman was in Space Jam 2. Like, yeah, but not really.
Oh, okay, you just blew my mind. All right, yeah. So, did we convince you, Matt, to watch this piece of shit?
I might watch it with my daughter if it has a strong female role.
Yeah, I think she'll really like Tila. If you're a fan of Buffy, I don't know.
I love Buffy. Back in the day. Angel sucks, but Buffy's awesome.
Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Matt, it is
Tila.
very, very women inspiring. There's like a part where because there was Tila and He-Man and then Evelyn and Grayskull, and they have a whole moment where they're like, we don't need our men anymore. I could have been, master of the universe if I was more confident in myself that I played second fiddle to Grayskull. And it's very, very women empowering, which is great. I can't wait for the sequel, She-Man.
Major, they have She-Rock.
She-Woman.
That's why they have She-Rock.
She-Woman.
Do you watch the She-Rock cartoon, Matt? Or does anyone in the family watch that?
No.
I guess that's
She-Rock?
It's the female spin-off of He-Man, because apparently girls did like He-Man in the 80s. They made a female version, because the whole reason they made He-Man in the first place was Mattel was the company that made Barbie, so they wanted to make toys for boys. So they created
the
He-Man.
doll just wasn't selling.
I guess not.
I will tell you, in the 80s and early 90s, between G.I. Joe and He-Man, that was literally half of the toys in a Toys R Us. And they would change something up so Cobra would get these new weapons, and all of a sudden you'd have a whole 32-foot section of the new weapons from Cobra.
Wasn't there literally a 6-foot helicarrier?
Yep.
G.I. Joe sold? Or was
for Christmas one year, I got this big spider crawler tank thing that was 2 feet, high and 2 feet wide. It probably cost $100.
Yeah, I think the aircraft carrier was literally $200 in the 80s, so that's probably $500 now.
Exactly.
So definitely, I'm sure you had to be literally pretty rich to be a G.I. Joe fan back in the day. But I always thought Transformers was the king of the toys.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Wasn't there a giant Optimus Prime?
Yeah, Transformers and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was the other one growing up for me.
Oh yeah, there's a show on Netflix called The Toys That Made Us, and they're really interesting. I think the He-Man, the G.I. Joe, the Transformers episodes are really good. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one's okay, and the Star Wars one isn't, because basically that was a movie and they just made toys about it, so it's not interesting. But at least He-Man and G.I. Joe, they were toys first, and then we got the cartoons and the media afterwards. So
and it really hasn't changed either, because right now my son used to watch Paw Patrol, and every season they get new vehicles or new Skyflyer or new this, and 2 weeks later at Walmart there's that Paw Patrol section, all brand new toys.
Yeah,
I'm glad he got out of that.
It's funny we mentioned this because last night I was trying to fall asleep, so I put on something Dark Side, and the intro crawl. They call out that how shitty Fox is with their business strategy.
Oh yeah.
Letting George Lucas retain the Star Wars, the rights to all the merchandising. What would you guess is the best-selling toy of all time?
Is it Tickle Me Boba Fett?
The Star Wars figurines that you actually had to mail in to get.
Oh yeah, because they didn't have them in time for the movie, so they said if you mail these in, we'll have them by the time the movie comes out or whatever, or later in the
mail in
Christmas. Mail in, they give you a printout of an actual action figure, cardboard mini cutout of an action figure. Then you mail that in, and they'll give you one by Christmas, even though the movie was out for a few months.
Interesting. According to good2.com, credited to Amazon, it's Furby.
So
I believe it. Yeah, in the 90s. Oh yeah.
I was really big into Beast Wars, because obviously we were 90, like me, Major, and Rob were 90s kids, but I think Beast Wars was the one that I think was really, because we had the same concept. It's just, instead of cars, they were animals that became robots. So
I don't know. I think I literally went from like smashing Batman and Robin toy figures together to riding Pokemon.
I think I was like mainly just
poor.
into.
I don't think I didn't have any of these toys.
You grew up with no TV.
I mean, no cable.
Well, you had Fox
fucking...
you had Power Rangers.
Yeah, basic. That's true. I did have some Power Rangers. Dude, I gotta tell you what, Batman versus Power Rangers, that was an excellent mashup. You guys should have been there back in 1999.
Yeah.
I was 17, so no.
Then they had Digimon and
Rob and I used to watch Digimon every morning for the bus.
Yeah, it was like this is totally original.
Get up early to watch Digimon.
So original.
Where can I find Digimon now? Where is that Digimon resurgence?
It might be on Disney Plus because
they bringing
Fox.
that back?
WB maybe?
I don't know. I'm thinking Disney Plus, or because they own Fox, right? Digimon was Fox, so Disney owns Fox now. So, but yeah, I don't know. So back to Masters of the Universe.
I guess.
A lot of callbacks. What do you think was the best episode of the season?
I'm gonna sarcastically say the first one because it had the He-Man, or most of the He-Man, or the last episode because He-Man dies.
Again, well, he doesn't die as He-Man; he dies as Adam. So.
Right, and he can't come back. It's like noble sacrifice wasted. Like that's one thing. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Like after they go to Subternia, mumble. They go to the Heaven one, and that was interesting. The main guy was there a black guy in the original He-Man series?
I don't think so. I think he was like a character in the 2002 series, but they made him black for this.
Yeah, like the first champion was black and
Gray Skull. Yeah,
the true Gray Skull, which I think is great. You need to have more people of color in your TV shows, but don't just like throw them in the last minute. But he has a magical portal that can take him back to Earth, but he's never used it because he doesn't want to leave. Because once you leave, you can't come back.
Yeah. And
then Adam / He-Man's like, no, I'm gonna go back. I gotta save this dumb planet made of magic. And he goes back and then gets killed. And it's pretty great.
Yeah, and Skeletor was hiding in her orb the entire time. So like if she was like in the bathroom and she had that orb next to her, he was like watching her. It's kind of like Ron Weasley and Peter Pettigrew as the rat.
Oh yeah, what was Peter doing though?
Only you, Forrest, would think about that.
No, I saw. I think I saw like when Ron was jacking off, like Peter Pettigrew was in the cage watching him. Growing
you
up,
saw that?
Yeah.
Don't send me that YouTube video. Don't send me the link. I don't want to see Ron Weasley.
But yeah, whenever Evelyn was like using the bathroom, he probably had the orb with her, and he was just like, Skeletor was like, yes. I don't know. I did like Mark Hamill as Skeletor.
Yeah, I was gonna say Mark Hamill, a delight as always. He's such a good voice actor.
Yep. I mean, obviously, he wasn't in the show that much either. Probably as much as He-Man. Yeah. So we got much more Evelyn than we did Skeletor. We got much more Tequila than we did He-Man. So I liked Lena Headey as Evelyn. I think she had the perfect voice for the character. But
she was good. Just a dumb name. The 80s. Like some things need to change. Evelyn. Just change it to Evelyn, but say it like Evelyn. Or something.
Yeah, that's the answer to the point. Yeah, it was like Evelyn, but the 80s.
Yeah, just say Evelyn, and then like on subtitles you can spell it out Evil-Lyn or whatever. But just saying it like that, like, oh, they don't call me Evil Lyn for nothing.
Better than Triclops.
Why? What's wrong with Triclops?
I don't know. I mean, I just think Evelyn's less stupid than Triclops.
I mean, does he have 3 eyes?
He does, but she's evil, so
touche. But is she evil?
Pot calling the kettle black.
Is she? Right.
She
I guess.
became evil again at the end because Skeletor was back.
Yeah. So maybe don't let your daughter watch the last episode, or she'll go back to that shitty boyfriend she has in 10 years.
Yeah, Matt's gone. I think he got sick of us talking about
Oh,
Masters.
Stop ruining my childhood. I had to leave. I
Yeah.
got cut out in the middle of a rant. I don't know how much you heard of it.
yeah. Why did
but
you leave?
I don't know, maybe connection issue. Okay, so let's go to Rick and Morty, I guess. So what are your predictions for the next part 2 of He-Man?
Force always got to throw in. I guess. Let's talk
I
about
guess.
it.
So I was about to say I guess because we're talking about predictions for next season. I think I think it's going to be the girls versus Skeletor. Which, by the way, how does Skeletor have an 8-pack? Like, is he a skeleton or is he a human? Like, what is going on with that
you gotta
character
watch the
design?
2002 series because it goes over his origin. He used to be like a blue skinned dude, and then he had like acid thrown in his face, and then he went to like his former master Hordak, and then like he enchanted his face to where it's just a skull. So he did used to be sort of like humanoid, but that's why he has like
So
a
he's
skull.
not all skull. He's just a skull face.
Yes. So it should be Skeletor.
So what's his name? What's his name? Skeletor. Skeletor. You beat me to it.
Yeah. And he became Skelegod at the end of the part 1.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I've got green flames for a neck.
Yeah. Apparently,
But I think
there
it's
was
going to be the girls versus him.
and there was
They're going to
discounts.
recruit Evil in.
Then there was Discount Skeletor in episode 4, who I literally thought was Skeletor, and then it's like, no, his name's Scareglow. I was like, what? He's just a glow-in-the-dark Skeletor, basically. So I was like, oh, Skeletor. And it's like, Matt said, and he got kicked out. Okay, but yeah, that's all. I guess, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully He-Man comes back. Otherwise, I shan't be watching the show anymore. But I like the animation, I like the voice acting. Batman played Merman. That was kind of cool.
Animation was good. Wait, which Batman?
Yeah, there's
Kevin
a lot of Batmans.
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Costner? Oh, Kevin Conroy? Kevin
Yeah,
Costner. That's a
the
completely different Batman.
The voice of Batman in the animated series. Probably the most well-known voice actor for the role.
Well, I would have liked to
recognize
see
his voice.
Skeletor and Kevin Conroy like interact with each other, Merman and Skeletor. That'd been nice.
They did in episode 3.
Oh, I guess they did. Yeah, but not like, I don't know. I'd expect more from Kevin Smith. Who, did you guys know he named his daughter Harley Quinn?
Yep. I think she's a voice in this show, too.
She is. That's how I figured it out. Or that's how I found that information out, just Googling the cast. But I know he's a huge Batman fan. He's got his Batman Beyond podcast after he lost all that weight and stuff. But naming your daughter Harley Quinn is a lot.
Yeah, I don't think she seems to mind.
No.
But yeah, that Batman,
$15, little man, put that shit in my hand.
Oh, yeah,
That money
Jason
doesn't
Mewes.
show you. Oh me, oh.
Jason Mewes is the voice of Stinkor, the skunk thing in this show.
Nice. I love Jason Mewes.
Yeah. But yeah, that Batman
He's back. We missed you, Matt.
Sorry.
Savior of the podcast.
That's what I was going to say, but I didn't want to go that high.
Yeah, that Fat Man on Batman podcast that Kevin Smith used to do used to be really good. Because he'd like go in depth with all these creators and people involved with Batman. Like he interviewed Denny O'Neil, who sort of like made Batman dark again in the 70s. He interviewed Jeff Loeb, who wrote the Long Halloween. He interviewed Scott Snyder, who did like the recent New 52 run. Like a few artists like Neil Adams, which is a really good interview. So if you're just like into like comic book history and just like what the industry was like back then and like how they just developed stories, it's a really good podcast. But then I think once Mark Bernardin joined, it sort of became like Fat Man Beyond or whatever, and now it's just like a pop culture podcast like this. They don't really do like in-depth interviews anymore.
I watched a lot of it leading up to the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, but yeah, look up
And
those
it just kinda fell off.
old podcasts should be online. They're really good if you're just like want to hear like some good interviews. But yeah, I guess we can talk about Rick and Morty real quick. This was like the episode where
making
went
fun
to
of
Hellraiser.
Hellraisers.
Oh yeah,
making fun of Hellraisers.
Yeah, Hellraiser
Now,
was
who
definitely
here
one of
has
those.
seen Hellraiser?
Me, and it
I
was definitely
haven't
one of
seen
those.
it, but I know about it.
One of those
Yeah.
movies that I watched way too young because I thought like I would be
Had to
cool
be
and get it.
Creepy watching real young.
Yeah, and that and Poltergeist 3. Still to this day, I can't look in a mirror.
Wow.
Or if I see
yeah.
a Rubik's Cube, I'm like, fuck that shit.
Yeah, it's definitely one of
Number
those
3 best-selling toy.
strange. One of those strange horror franchises. That's like, I think the book is even like more messed up because I think the guy who wrote the book directed the first movie, and it's just basically it's like they're the demons who exist in a world where pleasure and pain are the exact same, and like the more they're in pain, the more pleasurable it is. So yeah, the book is like basically just like a smut, but like with the horror vibes, but. Very interesting idea for a horror franchise, but I've never seen any of them.
Rick and Morty just make fun of it, just keep flipping it around on him.
It's a huge parody.
Yeah.
Now,
but
what do you
doesn't
guys
that
think?
make you mad or in pain, which means you would like it, and then
Flipping the logic on their head. Do you guys think that they were deriving pleasure from Jerry's pain or Rick's pain? Because they were talking about like cringe is only cringe if there's someone to cringe at it.
It was originally just Jerry, but then they came as like a combo deal.
Well, I think Rick was always there, so Rick was in pain for having to be in Jerry, and they fed off Rick's pain.
Yeah,
when
they were glowing
Rick
purple.
didn't want to be there.
Unless they were cringing by being around Jerry, and they were just like being in pain themselves. But I don't know.
Hey guys, they got the
they're
whole
like,
soundtrack to
his
Smash Mouth.
Or what that one said was like, his lameness is our candy.
Yeah.
One of them said.
I have to say this about Jerry though. Every season they have this one episode where they try to make you empathize with his character, and make him show that he's kind of like not a bad guy. But I never connect to him. Never. Like I never empathize for him. Still hate
your
him.
life grand.
They're trying to make Jerry the Meg.
Kid in class.
Oh,
exactly.
basically.
They're trying to make Jerry the Meg.
He plays the
No,
exact.
I think
because
he plays the exact same character on Archer. It's like just like a weak man, who's just like not funny and not cool. And I guess it's just sort of like it's probably like to make Rick a cooler character because he's so lame, and also like it sort of makes Archer a cooler character because Cyril's so lame.
Well, if you study the amazing television show called Community, when Pierce leaves, there's a hole in the group dynamic. You need someone to pick on, to make fun of, and that's Jerry. Now, I do think Jerry is like the Meg, Meg from Family Guy of this TV show. But I think what they do correctly and what Family Guy doesn't do correctly is like what Matt was talking about. They put in one episode where they try to like make you relate to Jerry, so you like Jerry enough, so you don't skip the Jerry episode, right? Because I remember there was a part during like Family Guy when Game of Thrones was still on, and Peter just like looks into the camera. He's like, "That's right, guys. It's a Meg episode. The remote's right there. No one's blaming you if you switch over. Game of Thrones is on. You want to see some tits?" And like they know, like no one cares about Meg.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up too. What did you think of the B story with the spaceship? I thought that was pretty forgettable.
Yeah, I agree.
I like the Changeformers. It was like, okay, I mean Transformers parody, but they were only in it for like 2 seconds. So
she's a non-changer. And they squirt oil on her or something.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was pretty forgettable. And like the cool kid who wasn't really cool.
It was like the new kid that has no reputation yet, so he could go anywhere, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which I heard Chud is a British
great movie.
Vagina.
It's a great movie too.
Really?
Oh, is it? I've never heard of Chud the movie.
It's a great movie from the 80s. It's one of those,
Is that what they're referencing?
horror exploitation films.
Oh, okay, so it's all connected.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I really.
What do you guys think about the testicle pod racer?
Oh yeah. But like I said, the whole storyline was so forgettable. Like it was like just a bunch of like a montage of crazy shit they're doing. Then I was just like, okay, get back to the health stuff because that's like the actual funny thing about the episode. But it's like,
isn't that
every time they started laughing was so funny. They just start glowing and stuff.
No.
Wouldn't you say most of the season is kind of forgettable?
Yes, I agree.
I thought this episode was better than the one with the
The
giant sperm.
So,
I didn't really like the giant sperm one, but apparently the baby's coming back.
Oh
I
yeah,
was-
probably.
The big incest
looking-
baby in the next episode. The next episode is going to be like a Power Rangers kind of thing. Have you seen the trailers for?
No,
yeah,
no,
don't
I
spoil
haven't.
it. Yeah, but I think I've seen a few promos. I mean, I think like in the opening credits they showed like them in the Power Rangers uniforms. So,
Yeah, that's going to be the next episode.
but yeah, I do like going in completely blind though, because that's how crazy the show is. You never know what's gonna happen.
I watch TV and trailers
Right.
come up all the time when I'm watching TV.
I don't watch cable anymore, so I just want to watch it as it comes on.
I was scrolling
okay.
through my DVR and saw episode 4 of season 5, the sperm episode, and I was like, this doesn't sound familiar. And so I clicked on it, and I was like, no, I've seen this episode twice, because I watched it a second time because I forgot what it was about. So like, yeah, I just feel like the season's mostly forgettable.
Yeah.
They haven't really had any strong plot point episodes. They're just kind of random episodes.
Which is crazy because
Usually
all the
they've had
hype,
some
like,
good-
behind the scene interviews and stuff, like with the directors and the writers, and Dan Harmon, they said like this is going to be the most plot like heavy season yet.
They said they're going to drop a lot of stuff. I don't still waiting on it really.
How many episodes this season? 13?
10.
Just 10. Okay.
Yeah. So I think, did you guys watch the Film Theorist? Shout out to Film Theorist on YouTube. Video I sent you, the one where Matt gave a hilarious comment about a 14-minute video on a 22-minute episode.
Yep.
Your cynicism is beautiful, even though it was on the whole season so far. But basically, the idea is that it's the origin story, which is right on
Evil
par
Morty.
for quote unquote Hollywood, because everyone needs an origin story.
Well, I think last season only had like one continuity episode, and then like the last one with Rick's daughter, who may or may not have been a clone. I think the rest of that season was like.
Well, one of them was a clone.
Yeah, one
so-
of them are a clone.
But that
I
was like
just don't know who.
That was the only like callback to past episodes that season, I think. So it's like I think they just want to do like standalone episodes. It seems.
I feel they're bland.
Oh.
They're building up to something though.
Yeah.
we'll
there
see.
was a callback this episode when Beth was leaving the house and the kids, and she said like if the house gets teleported, don't come back or something like that.
That
And that
crack
was,
in the driveway is always there now.
It's
Yeah.
still
Ever
there.
since the house
Well,
teleported.
I've always felt this show's been more standalone than the continuity just isn't that great in this. I mean, the callbacks to, like the Council of Ricks and the Intergalactic Federation, whatever. Like those are callbacks, and like the Phoenix Person or whatever. But I think it's like basically this show's strongest when it avoids continuity and just does new stuff every week.
Right, and that's like exactly. Like that was what Rick and Morty was. It was like a sitcom standalone until they dropped in some continuity, and then the fan base like went crazy.
I like that.
But
though.
everyone's favorite. Yeah, I love the continuity because I want to learn more. I want that lore. I want that sweet lore. But I think for a majority of people, one of their top 5 or 3 of their top 5 favorite episodes are probably Interdimensional Cable or the spinoff.
like the you saw on that whole what was the train, that whole continuity train, whatever the train
Yeah,
was
the
Storytelling
called.
continuity train. Yeah.
Yeah,
you
when
see,
they had like
you
when
see
he was
commercials
turning
for
it up all the way, and they had like evil Morty, they had the Meeseeks there, they had all kinds of like unknown stuff that people are like theorizing online about all at once when he was turning everything up. They had other stuff
did really
in there,
like-
too, I can't think of.
I did really like the part about Jesus Christ saving them at the end. And
Yeah.
he's like,
Rips
don't you
his
think
shirt
this is
off.
gonna he's like, don't you think
do
this is gonna be insulting people? He's like, what are you talking about? Like, we're literally getting saved by Jesus Christ. What do people want?
Oh, it's just like okay. Well, that's all I got for this one. How about we talk about the Dune trailer real quick?
Yay.
One last
Yeah, it
thing.
looks cool.
Yeah. One last thing. What? So
Dude,
we're on 5 seasons, and every intro has had the ending scene with the Cthulhu-like monster.
Yeah,
Do you
I've
think
noticed that.
That's
I don't
going to
think it's
be
ever-
like
But it
the
hasn't
last
popped up.
episode.
Well, it's like I don't think that has anything. That's just like the show that the level of crazy adventures they go on. That's not like part of the
Just a
actual
reference.
show.
Like
Yeah,
the part
it's
with
the only thing-
like the robot Morty and his face falling off. That's never happened.
And then,
either.
well, about when Morty's playing golf, though? When are we gonna see that scene? You know?
Yeah, that's
fun.
just like most of them are all just random stuff and things happening to Morty. That's like
There was like
scene
one
that
from last
nothing
season where
happens.
like like doesn't like Morty have like a butt face and then like he's like looking at faces
Yeah,
and like a magazine like on women's butts, so that never showed up in an episode. So
comes in and she's got butt head.
Yeah. So
and I like that.
I think some of those just that's cool. Like some of them are random, and some of them are scenes from the actual season.
Yeah.
So
switch it up. You never know what you're gonna. You never know like what you're gonna see. Like, oh, that'd be a really cool scene to see.
Just kind of show you all the random stuff that's happened.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk
so do you
about
guys
Dune.
think this is the? Oh, okay, fine. We'll talk about Dune.
Yeah. Rick and
Morty
Morty
really
can only
wants
hold
to
my.
leave Rick and Morty.
I like the show. It's just like I think there's only so much we can say about the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, all right. So, what are your final thoughts on Rick and Morty? Since we'll let you blow this show for a little bit longer if you want to.
Yeah. Thanks. I appreciate it. I'm gonna get that horse semen all over you. But do you guys think this is? Oh, I was just gonna ask everyone's thoughts on. Do you think this is the?
Whoops! I accidentally unplugged my headphones.
Rick and Morty. This is the evil Rick background or backstory. I'm blanking on the word there. Origin story.
Oh, I can't remember.
Do you think we're seeing? Do you think we're seeing evil Rick or evil Morty?
I could see it because he does feel a little different. Morty does,
right? And she does call him 14, and the show's known for continuity. So I think when they're like,
I could totally see that.
Yeah.
I feel like at least a couple of usually their final episode of a season is something big, like plot wise. All the other seasons have ended on kind of like a dramatic ending episode.
I go back to episode 2. None of this matters.
Yeah, that's true. They're all.
I can't remember episode 2.
They left the real universe behind to go in the Cronenberg. They turned into the
Was that
Cronenberg one.
episode 2?
Yeah,
that's
for
what
season.
all the.
Yeah, they left the real universe.
Oh, season 1.
The real Rick and Morty behind, and like, or no, they are the real Rick and Morty. Oh well, it's just confusing.
The Rick is Rick.
Let's talk about Dune.
C-137. They usually reference him as.
Yeah. All right. So everyone see the Dune trailer?
Yay!
Yes.
And was everyone pleased?
No.
No. Okay. What didn't you like about it? I didn't like that they stole a line from Black Dynamite.
I missed parts of the dialogue.
Yourself that question?
Yeah, he was like, "Smile, Gurney." I am smiling. They stole that from Black Dynamite. Yeah. I was like, really? Besides that, I thought it was a good trailer. We saw more of the Baron. Not really. Didn't see much more of the Baron. We just saw, him floating. We saw. I guess the humor didn't really work. They're really showcasing Jason Momoa, even though Aquaman came out 3 years ago. But
well, wasn't this movie supposed to come out a couple years ago?
Yeah, like 2-3 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah, or 2020, right? Or maybe I think like December of 2019, right?
Yep.
Okay, so it was supposed to come out like 2 years ago. But yeah, so they really could capitalize on Jason Momoa's popularity back then. But I guess he's still sort of popular. Some people really like Khal Drogo, even though he's like a rapist.
He just had a movie come out during the pandemic. Justice League: The Snyder Cut.
Oh yeah,
it was fantastic.
But yeah, I like the score. I think it showed more like they played Pink Floyd during the first trailer, which is cool because they were supposed to do the Pink Floyd was supposed to do the music for the movie and like before David
the Tartakovsky
Yeah.
version.
So I thought that was a cool callback to that. But I think they played the actual score from the movie in this. And I liked it a lot.
I love Hans Zimmer. He's
is he? Oh, okay. Is he doing it? Okay, nice.
It's John Williams, Hans Zimmer, and then Danny Elfman, maybe.
Yep.
Top 3. Yeah.
What about the guy who did the Joker? That score that was really good. I can't remember.
Are you talking about the movie, The Joker?
Yeah. The guy who did the score for that.
Fuck that movie.
I think it's like the music was good though. The score was good though, right? It had like a lot of.
I couldn't hear much hiding in the fridge.
So what else? Yeah, I think the cast is great. I think they're really.
Really? Really?
Who don't you like?
Everybody.
You don't like Josh Brolin?
No, I don't like any character. Actually fits the character from the books at all.
Who would you cast?
Here we go. This is why I came. Let's go, baby.
See, it's okay. So here's my problem with this, and then what I'm really worried about.
Yeah.
One, I appreciate the fact that it's going to be 2 movies, not 1, because you can't do Dune in 1 film. No. Tartakovsky was going to do it in 20 hours. but Dune is one of the earliest and one of the best like sci-fi books out there. The lore is just beyond ridiculous, and it is like a kid in high school nerd's like rite of passage. So I love this book. I loved, everything, like the video games that came out with this. And the issue is whenever I try to get, like my wife into this, it's just like too dense or it's just not good enough. And what I fear is that this movie, and we definitely see it in this trailer.
You must not fear. Sorry.
Yeah, they're trying to get it to be popular, like in a bigger crowd, because you're spending so many millions of dollars on this film. So we want the biggest audience
155
you can have, and so they're gonna make it not true Dune. It's gonna be for the mass market, which always ruins it for me. And there are several points in this trailer, just how much they featured, Jason Momoa in it or Zendaya in it. The fact that Zendaya is in it to begin with. Just makes it feel like it's going to be more about how many people we can reach with this film than an homage to the Nerd Boys. But at the same time, too, like there's that little, edge there of, hey, I really enjoy this. I do want other people to enjoy it and get involved in Dune. So it's like, am I willing to like overlook certain things? Then, yeah.
Well, it's both.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to ask, Matt. Like, is that nerdy sacrifice of all the deep cuts, is that a good enough sacrifice for you to be able to talk about it with other people?
Exactly. And so that's what I'm hoping it doesn't go too much in one direction, but it's frustrating because I want it to be like the true homage, and we're never going to get that as a Nerd Boy.
What did you think of Villeneuve's last movie, Blade Runner 2049?
I actually loved that movie. And so that's why I was happy when they picked him for this. 2049 blew me away because I went in typical, cynical, skeptical Matt, and the ending of that film, you just have to sit down and like take a deep breath. And so I'm hoping, but there are several parts in this, clip. I love seeing Baron Harkonnen come down. Like there's one scene where they're fighting on the sand, and that power armor they're using is like, come on, what is that? Like,
is that not in the book?
No, like they have still suits, which are the black things that they wear.
But don't they have like a force field thing that keeps them from being hit by bullets, and that's why they have to use swords now? Yeah,
well, they have force fields, and they do show the knife fight scene where they're using the shields, but you can't use the shields on the sand because it attracts the sandworms.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's why they were in their armor. But yeah, that is kind of strange. They weren't in the Spartan armor.
Also, you can't use nukes because if you use nukes, then it reacts to the shields, and that's why that one scene they're like, went off the shields.
Yeah. And what else?
So Matt, tell me.
At the end of the day, I'm still gonna see this.
Yeah, we're gonna watch it and we're gonna talk about it. But Matt, can you go into a little bit more detail? Earlier, you were talking about you don't like the casting. I see Jason Momoa, Dave Bautista, Stellan Skarsgård, Oscar Isaac, Javier Bardem, and Josh Brolin. So like these are fantastic people. You just don't like who they were cast as? Yeah,
who they were cast as, and get way too in depth with it. But
no, go ahead. We cut our Rick and Morty section short, so go for it.
Did we? Like, what else could we? Good lord!
We're running up on 15 minutes. We're running up on 15 minutes, so I'll definitely have to like sit down and go
back.
Circle back.
We got 10 more minutes because we started like 10 minutes in. So.
No, I gotta. All right, fine.
This is not a hey, top of your brain, who would you cast as this character? This is one of those like, it means so much. I would actually have to like sit down and actually think on it because,
Well, if it makes you feel any better, no one here has seen or is familiar with Dune, so you could. Well, I mean, yeah, but could you tell me the plot of Dune?
Yeah, it's like the Atreides they get the planet Arrakis back from the Harkonnens. The Harkonnens are trying to assassinate the Atreides, because the Emperor wants the Atreides out of the way too, because Atreides is popular with the Senate or whatever.
So basically, you have this huge galactic empire.
I apologize.
Right. You have this
I stand
huge
corrected.
universe. You have this huge universe, and basically, the only way to travel and actually go between planets is through spice, right? And the only place you
Is
can
that a
get
Star Wars
spice.
reference?
No.
Okay.
This actually was written in 1967. 65.
Okay.
Yeah, it just came out. So, 12
so
years
it's
before
much
Star Wars.
older than Star Wars. And this actually inspired George Lucas.
It's
a little
older
bit
than
too.
Star Trek too, because it came out a year before that show.
Oh.
So basically, you have House Atreides, and they're going to take over custodianship of Arrakis, which is the planet where the spice is from. But in order to because it would make them so powerful, they have to give up their home planet and abandon it. Like they have to completely move everybody off their home planet and move to Dune. What you find out later on is that this is a whole trap that the Harkonnen and the Emperor, with the Sardaukar, made to trap them on Arrakis, so that way they're easy to attack, not expecting it, and they wipe out House Atreides. Paul Muad'Dib, who's like essentially turns into the prophet at the end, is the one that leads the Fremen on Arrakis to reclaim their homeworld. So it's very political, very like it's one of those books that you read a few times, and every time you read, you catch a little nugget here and there. Yeah,
I see.
And it's one of those it's 6 books by Herbert himself, and then his son took over and destroyed the franchise. But in those 6 books, like the lore is the world building is some of the best world building that you'll have. And the problem with it
Would you say better than the Expanse books?
Yes. But a lot of problem new readers will have with Dune is it is a series written in the 60s and 70s. And I think the last one came out in the early 80s. So at times the writing is slightly dense, and you have to go back and be like, what's he making this an allegory into? What is he implying here?
Okay.
But it's just, really good. So I definitely suggest.
I wanted to write a book about the Orange Catholics, because apparently that's a group in the Dune universe that's like apparently like a I don't know, because the orange represents Protestantism and Catholics represent Catholicism. But so I guess they mended their ways in the future. So now there's the Orange Catholics. So they're making a book about them.
Who do you worship? Jesus. Wait, that's who we worship.
Let's all get
friends?
along. Yeah.
I guess you don't have to eat fish on Fridays.
It's another thing about Dune too. Like they have the Bene Gesserit, which is these witches essentially, and they have like this whole backstory, and then you have this other backstory of these people, and it's actually allegories for the emergence of what is now modern Judaism, what is now modern Islam, and it's a really good allegory, but like his world is like pretty much the same way here it is. This family house is 3,000 years old, this family house is 2,000 years old, and they rise, the rise comes with Hebrews, and then this family is the allegory for Islam. So it's really well done.
Yeah, and there's no computers in this universe because there was apparently like a big Terminator war earlier.
The Butlerian Jihad. Yep.
So
where
like all
the
the computers are like people called Bentats. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully, we'll at least get part 2. Hopefully, it's successful. I know like Blade Runner 2049 bombed, but I don't think this is rated R. I think this is rated PG-13, so hopefully, it'll be more accessible to general audiences.
That's the other problem. That's like Marvel or any of the superhero movies. Rated R is so much better, but you're willing to sacrifice some stuff just to get more people to watch it.
I really don't see like young people. I mean, like kids as interested to see this as they would a Marvel movie. I think it's like very, very complex sci-fi.
It's got but they don't know that going into it. It's got half the Marvel cast in it.
Yeah, so I could
half the
definitely see this
superhero
getting
cast.
really good reviews, but this is both show and business. So if it can't make back its money, then we won't get a part 2, unfortunately. So it might all be for naught. But yeah, I don't know.
So let's cleverly segue with show and business and high expectations for movies, and quickly pivot to Space Jam 2. Unless anyone has any other comments.
It's a 2-hour long commercial. 2-hour long commercial.
So my expectations were so low for this movie based on the reviews I read online, podcasts I listened to, people who have seen the movie, they hated it. Right? My expectations were so low going into this movie that I actually really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
immensely.
That was like me and
I thought this movie was going to be. Oh, really?
Yeah, I had so low expectations for Venom because the reviews were so bad, and I was like, not terrible. Or I don't hate this.
Yeah, I thought Venom was very middle of the road, but like Space Jam 2, maybe I love Easter eggs. That's a damn fact, and there's only 1 million of them in here.
But they're not Easter eggs. They're not Easter eggs. It's WB going, look what property we own. We're gonna show you bright things.
Look at Space Jam.
Is Batman really in this though?
Yeah, lots of versions of Batman.
Oranges.
Rick and Morty's in it for like 10 seconds. But yeah, like while we were watching the final showdown basketball game, my wife and I were just like pointing out background characters. The Penguin is in it from Tim Burton's verse.
Yeah, is it true? Is it true? It has nothing to do with space? There's no aliens in this?
Incorrect. The 5 aliens. Yeah, it's on a server for sure. It should have been called Server Jam instead of Space Jam, but you got to make money. The aliens do show up for half a second. They're in the crowd, like the original 5 or 6, like little tiny guys.
Are they small again? They're not the Monstars?
Yeah, they're small. Yeah, they're small again. They're not the Monstars.
All right. Well, we got a few seconds left. Any predictions for Space Jam 3?
It's gonna be a
LaMelo Ball.
Yeah.
LaMelo Ball.
Is there really a third one scheduled?
No, not yet. But don't you worry, it will come out. Okay, there is one part that made me laugh out loud way too hard. And are you guys planning on watching Space Jam?
I already watched it, so.
Yeah, all right, cool. All right, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's halftime. They're down by 1,000 points because of style points. Listen to another podcast or read the review if you want to learn more about style points. But
I don't know.
They're down by 1,000 points, and I forgot what character, but comes back and he's like, "Guys, I found Michael Jordan." And there's this moment, Michael Jordan is this, you see this figure walking into the locker room, emerged in shadows. You can't see who it is. And then you see the Air Jordans, and you're like, holy shit, Michael Jordan's here to save the day. And then it's Michael B. Jordan, the actor.
Yeah.
And it was so well done. I laughed way too hard at that joke.
He probably is pretty good at basketball. He does look like a good athlete, so he actually might be able to help them. Okay, well, that's really all we have time for today. I might check out Space Jam.
Don't.
If I'm okay, I won't.
Well, I would rather watch Space Jam than Masters of the Lame-iverse.
Yeah, we might have to watch Bad Batch again next week because I don't think there's anything new coming out unless you want to.
I don't know how far behind I am now.
Yeah, I want to point out the fact that we try a lot of our viewers probably tuned in this week to hear Matt and Forrest and I and everyone else talk about Dark Phoenix. And I just want to point out, let the record state, Forrest refused to watch that movie. Every time we texted about it, he just went radio silent.
Well, how are we going to watch it, on the podcast? We're going to have to...
No, we're not going to...
We're not going to watch it on the podcast.
We're just going to watch it.
Together.
Yeah, we're just going to watch it, and then we're going to talk about it on the podcast.
Oh, okay.
A group,
what else do we do?
Group tweet or group text or something.
All right. Well, I always envision we talk about, recent stuff, but...
no, but this is revenge for this is revenge for making Matt watch all this terrible movies.
Black Widow, yeah.
Okay, my comeuppance. All right, well, that's our show, everyone.
Yes.
I'm Forrest.
I'm Major.
And I'm Robbie.
Matt.
We'll see you next time.
You guys will play some Halo after this?
Thanks for listening. I think so.